Did we talk about Noah? Noah? Yeah, we did, right? Okay, so we talked about Noah, and he built a big ark, right? What were his 3 sons' names? Do you remember? Shem, Ham, Japheth, or Japheth. Only in Hebrew there's no J, right? So there's no J. So it's Japheth. So when you say Jehovah, there's no J. It's Jehovah, Yahweh. Okay. All right. So I wanted to share some interesting things about Noah and a man that I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about, Abram. Not Abraham, at least not yet, just Abram. I want you to go to Genesis. I want you to go to chapter 9, the very last verse. Okay? Somebody tell me, how many years after the flood did Noah live? Anybody else?
How long did he remain alive
After the flood, yeah. Yeah. Did you kids find it? Did you find it? How much? No. You're guessing. Don't guess. Look it up. Ah, okay. So, did Miss Isa told me, right? Okay. 350. After the flood. Right? Okay. Keep that number right there. All right, let's go over to chapter 11. You know, have you ever wanted to know how come they say they're anti-Semite? Have you ever heard that term, anti-Semite? The adults have. Anti-Semite typically it means anti-Jewish. I wonder how that happened, because a Semite comes from Shem, the son of Noah.
So the gift anti means against.
Okay? Anti, against, opposed to. So if typically when we say anti-Semite, we mean anti-Jewish. But the Jewish people are not the only people that came from Shem. The Arabs came from Shem. Part of northern Africa came from Shem. All of Ur and Babylon came from Shem.
That makes them Jewish too?
Oh, no.
Because Shem was not Jewish.
Nope. Neither was Abram. Neither was Isaac. Or Jacob and Esau until. That's another story. Stay tuned. All right. Don't get me on the rabbit trail. All right. Shem, one of the sons of Noah. Chapter 11, verse 10. How many years after the flood was his first son born? Come on, it's math time. Chapter 11, verse 10. How many years after the flood was Shem's first son born? No, read it. He was 100 years old. 2 years. Okay, we got 2 right here, right? 2. All right. Let's keep going down the list. Okay, so in verse 12, how old was Parkshad before he fathered someone? Nope. 35. And then he lived another. Yeah, but I don't care about that one, okay? All right, verse 14. His son Shalach, how old was he when he fathered Eber? 30. All right, are you catching on to what we're doing? How old was Eber when he had a son named Peleg? 34. Okay, interesting side note. Peleg means division. Oh, so Peleg probably was around at the time of Babel when God confused the languages and the earth shook and the continents divided. Oh, did you know history and science was in the Bible? That's when God confused the languages and everybody started speaking different languages. That's when the continents divided at the time of Peleg, right there. Oh, and Noah's still alive. Oh, right? Yeah, that's only 30, 60, 99, 101. Oh, yeah, he's still alive. Interesting. Okay, so where are we? We're at Eber? Or are we at Peleg? All right, how old was Peleg when he had a child? Thank you. Whoops. I think I need a different pen. 30. Okay. Where am I? Peleg. Who did Peleg have? Rue. How old was Rue? 32. Okay, who's next? Don't miss any. Shrug. How old was he? 13? Okay, thank you. 30. And then Nahor. How old was Nahor? How many? 29? All right. And then he had Terach. Terach was the father of Abram. How old was he? 70. When who was born? Nahor, Abram, Nahor, and Haran, right? Okay, let's add it up. Who's going to help me add? Nobody's going to help me add? Oh, don't cheat.
Two plus right here. She's just trying to show me off right here. You see that?
You can't see that?
292.
Is that what I came up with? What's 350 minus 292?
50 and 8, 58.
That's how old Abram was when Noah died. Is anybody's mouth going? Did your mind not go? No? Did you even have a clue that Noah was still alive when Abram was alive?
I don't think I ever thought about that.
God has given us everything we need. When we lack faith and we're like, oh, I don't think that could happen. Is anybody in this house 58? No, he's not this interfering. See, the characters in the Bible, he asked a good question. Does the Bible mention Noah anymore? Well, yeah, actually, when you can read about him at different places because it talks about his faith. You can read about him even in the New Testament. But he's not the same. See, no person is the center theme of Scripture. So you only read portions of their life and their story that's for us. Whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the Scriptures might have what? 4-letter word, starts with H, ends with an E, has an O and a P in the middle. Hope. Hope. Okay? We have a hope and a future. We have hope. Okay. Wow. Now, if I went the other way and I told you how many generations Noah to Adam, it only had to go through one individual, Noah's grandfather, Methuselah. Methuselah knew Adam? Yep. And Methuselah knew Noah, and Shem, and Japheth, and Ham. Wow. Who? Methuselah is the one that lived the longest, yes. Yep, 969, I believe. You can correct me, I might be wrong. I think it's a 969. So the stories didn't necessarily have to be written down because their minds were sharper than ours. Okay? Their minds were a lot sharper than ours. They didn't have all the environment stuff and all of man's stuff and all these things that we eat that we shouldn't eat, and they didn't. So they lived longer. They didn't have all the distractions. They didn't have electronics. They didn't have internet. They had to use their mind. They didn't have a calculator. They had to use their mind. All right. So, just wanted you to know that about Abram. You didn't know that about Abram. So, let's look at something else. Let's look at a picture. Whoops, wrong iPad. There we go. All right. So, let's go back to Noah. See this little square up there? That's where Mount Ararat is. That's in the current modern day land of Turkey. All right? That's where we believe because the Bible does say Mount Ararat, does it not? Where the ark of that Noah built would be. But then it said, go east to the land of Shinar. Well, you know what? In my view, if you go east, if they ended up in the plain of Shinar, which is down here, to me, that's south, right? But if you actually saw the mountains and how you went, they had to go east to get out of the mountains. And then could they not have migrated down to the south, to the plain of Shinar? They could have. But what's very interesting, and I want you to note, is that right over here to the east is the city of Haran. Hold on to that thought. So if you come down out of the mountains, east, oh, so the Bible didn't lie. Then you can migrate. Because why? Because they're following the river, the Euphrates and the Tigris. This is what we call the Fertile Crescent. Okay? The best produce in the world can be grown here. Where's the second best place? Here. I have said for forever, and once we went to Israel, I came back thoroughly convinced even more. California is a ginormous Israel geographically. Geographically. We have the mountains, we have rocks, we have fields, we have green, we have desert, we have oceans, we have lakes, we have water. If you shrunk California down, you would have this little bit right here. Whoops, there it is, right there. Israel. So interesting. Okay, let's see. This is where we're going to go. So you can see, you see this is still the Euphrates River, and this is the Tigris. Let me show you again. Here's the Euphrates River. Here's the Tigris. Do you see how it goes up there and then they go up? So the next map I'm going to show you, you don't see up here. Mount Ararat's up here, but these are the same rivers. Okay? Here's Here's Haran. Here's Israel, Canaan. It's known as Canaan right now because this is where Cain went, the son of Ham. That's how it got its name? Yep, that's how it's got its name. Chapter, if you want to follow along, you can. If not, I'm going to read fast. Adonai said to Abram, get yourself out of your country, away from your kinsmen and away from your father's house, and go to the land that I will show you. Let me backtrack. Let me go up to chapter 11, verse 29. Then Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, not Sarah, or Sarai. It could be Sarai. And the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran. He was the father of Milcah and of Yitzhak. Sarai was barren. She had no child. And Tarak, their father, Abram's father, took his son Abram, his son Haran's son Lot, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they left to go to the land of Canaan. But when they came up to Haran, now, why wouldn't they go from across to Canaan? Why didn't they just go straight across? They'd have died. It's desert. It's hot. It's desert. They have a lot of goods. If they're coming out of I venture to say that Abram's family was kind of wealthy. Maybe they were merchants. I don't know. But you know, when Sarai, at 65 is beautiful to behold and somebody would want her, it's like there's got to be beauty there. And isn't that interesting? The same area where Queen Esther goes. Okay. So instead they follow the green path where they can get food and water. So Terah and Abram and Lot and Sarai all go from to Haran. And now they stay there until Terach dies, right? And says Terach lived 205 and he died in Haran. So then God says to Adonai, to Abram, get yourself out of your country, away from your kinsmen, away from your father's house, and go to the land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you, and I will make your name great. And you are to be a blessing, and I will bless those who bless you, but I will curse anyone who curses you. And by you all the families of the earth will be blessed. So they went to Haran, and then Abram waited until his dad passed, and then he obeyed God, right? No. How old was Abram when they went to Canaan? Oh, well, if you read the next verse, Abram went as Adonai had said to him, and Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old. Terach was 70 when he had him? That means Terach was 145 years old, but he didn't die until he was 205, so he lived another 60 years. Did Abram obey? Even at 75? You're almost there. Are we still obeying? I hate to say it, but some of us are still learning to obey. Thank you, Abba, for your chesed, right? For your love, your grace, your mercy, right? So at 75, so he's already left one place and followed his father. And now God says, I want you to go somewhere else. But see, here's the thing. See where Haran is? And remember where Mount Ararat was? What if Noah actually lived there and didn't travel to Shinar? Didn't travel down to Babel where they built the Tower of Babel and the languages were confused? What if Noah didn't move that far? What if Abram and Noah spent time together? What if? Interesting, huh? And we don't know when they left from Ur to Haran, but we know that Abram was 58 years old when Noah died. So whether he was in Ur or whether he was in Haran or somewhere in between, it's probable, highly likely, that one man of faith would have known another man of faith. Don't you think Methuselah knew Adam and wanted to know everything there was to know about God and creation? And don't you think maybe he passed it on to his grandson Noah, but Noah found grace in the eyes of God? And don't you think that if God was going to call Abram, did call Abram, that he would have sent him to another great man of faith who went through great things at an old age? I think maybe so. All right. Is that enough for Abram for a while? There's a whole lot more about Abram, so we're going to spend weeks on Abram and stories about Abram, okay? We're going to spend weeks and weeks there, but there's one thing I want to go over. If we jump down to chapter 12, verse 6, it says that Abram passed through the land, which would have been Canaan, to the place called Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. The Canaanites, the children of Canaan, were in the land. And Adonai appeared to Abram and he said, to your descendants, and actually it means to your seed, okay? It means your seed. I will give this land. So he built an altar there to Adonai who appeared to him. So Abram is faithful, okay? And trusting. That's what I want you to just hold on to, because would you be able to leave everything? He left his father. He left his home. He probably left a beautiful home in Ur and maybe one in Haran. We don't know how long he was there. To go live in a tent and wander around in some wilderness land he doesn't even know about. Wow. At an old age. 75. I like my house. It's comfortable. And I got fruit trees, and so I can enjoy the fruits of my labor. Sherry Lee, what? You want me to leave all of this? Let go of the quarter. Right? Remember that one? See, you remember, huh? Right? You drop the quarter in the vase, your hand's in the vase. You can't get your hand out of the vase, right? Let go of the quarter. God's got something better. Okay? All right. That's all for you today. But I have more. A lot more. So come back.